Just off the Texas coast sits a unique beach town marked with salty vibes and sun-soaked memories. Port Aransas is a place where family traditions unfold naturally, and beauty lies both in island views and the unhurried moments between adventures. One visit, and you'll see why generations of Texans have anchored their traditions to the island life. Start your new favorite family tradition in Port Aransas, Texas. Go to visitportaransas.com and plan your visit to Austin's beach. Picture this. It's a perfect spring day. You and your crew are soaking up the sun, live music in the background, craft beer in your hand, wandering past rows of breweries, local vendors, and food trucks serving up some serious flavor. That's Wild West Brewfest, and it's happening April 11th and 12th in Pflugerville. It's the ultimate craft beer festival run by the Rotary Club of Pflugerville, and every pour gives back, with net profits going to scholarships and local charities. So, tickets are going fast. Grab yours now at wildwestbrewfestpflugerville.com. Y'all, these self-driving cars are everywhere, and I'm feeling some type of way about it. So today on CityCast Austin, I'm talking to a super user to see if he can change my mind and convince me to try it for myself. It's Wednesday, April 2nd. I'm Nikki Devon, and this is what Austin's talking about. Hello, I am here today with Dan Weinstock, CityCast Austin's senior account executive, aka our ad person. I'm excited to have you on the podcast.
Hey, before I joined CityCast, I saw that you and the group did like a tequila tasting, and that's one of the things that made me be like, you know what? I'm applying to CityCast. This is it. This is a sign. This is a sign because I need to be at that table. I need to be at that table with Nikki and Eva and Kelsey.
Struggle. Nikki and Kelsey were struggling to drink that tequila. See, yeah, we needed you there because me and Kelsey were having a hard time. It was rough. So, okay, I got to talk to you about Waymo because I am a Waymo skeptic, but I hear you are a Waymo evangelist. So, okay, I want to hear your elevator pitch, like in a few sentences. Why should I try it? Why should I try out Waymo?
Okay, call me a Waymo evangelist is actually 100% spot on. I really can't shut up about the thing. I don't know where to begin. I mean, I love everything about it. When I was on the Waymo One app, I loved how easy it was to order it and get it scheduled. I love, how clean the cars are. There's nothing in there except for you. And it's tremendous, like the depth of field that the Waymo cars have. I mean, from the moment you walk up, you unlock the doors with the app on your phone and the doors open up and you get in and it says, "Welcome, Dan." And it has your initials on the top of the car, like spinning around really fast.
Oh my God.
So it feels like a luxury experience almost. And then you get into the car and you have a screen that says start ride. It tells you to like buckle up, and then you can kind of like pick your music from some radio station options that are kind of like preloaded on there.
Okay, in March, Waymo launched on the Uber app, and customers could opt in to be picked up by a self-driving vehicle instead of an actual driver. But this has kind of actually been a long time coming. The very first ride took place here in 2015. So I'm curious, when did you first hear about Waymo, and what interested you in it?
I think the first time I heard about Waymo was actually on Malcolm Gladwell's podcast, Revisionist History. And he did like a whole episode dedicated to Waymo where he tested it out in Phoenix. And I was kind of obsessed with the idea from the beginning. Growing up in Southern California, I feel like I spent so much of my life in the car and had like endless hours, commuting from my dad's house in San Diego to my mom's house in LA, like on the weekends.
Yeah.
I always kind of dreamed of an option where, I could have like a computer with me, or I could play like video games, or like I could watch Netflix or movies.
Do something else, anything else.
Without having to worry about driving and like focusing on the road and all that stuff. So the idea of self-driving cars have always been like really romantic to me. And like just like the idea of like the future has arrived, you know?
Yeah.
Technology is here to make our lives easier.
Okay. Now
I won't say
listen.
that broadly, Nikki. I won't say that broadly. I'll
Yeah.
say some people love driving. I'm not one of those people. I think driving
Okay.
is kind of a chore sometimes. So it's nice to be able to focus on other things.
Same. Okay, so I'm curious, did you have any reservations at all? Was there never a time where you had like a voice in the back of your head that was like, nah, don't do that. That's not, don't do that.
I was so excited the first time I got access to start testing it out here in Austin as a passenger that like I feel like my excitement overrode any other feelings. If I was nervous at all, within like 10 seconds of driving in this thing, I was convinced that I was super safe. Like it sees everything. Nikki, I mean, I have 60 rides under my belt. I have like 800 minutes total spent in Waymos. I have like 175 miles ridden in a Waymo.
Oh my God, Dan!
Yes. I was using
60
these. Okay,
rides?
I will say too, when I got access to the app, these rides were 100% free. 100% free.
Okay, so that's right, because so you joined a wait list for
Yes.
Waymo like a long time ago. So
In 2023.
2023. So when did you
Mhm.
actually start riding?
December of 2024.
Wow. So you have
Yep.
wait,
I waited
no.
an entire year on the wait list.
Wait.
Yeah.
As in this past December.
Yeah. That's when I
So
got
from
access.
this past December to now, you've rode 60 times, Dan?
Yes.
That's incredible. I'm sorry, that's amazing.
It would be more if if they didn't integrate with Uber and now I have to pay for them. Plus, you're also not guaranteed to get a Waymo on the Uber. You can just set your preference to like prefer a driverless car. But another thing too, it depends where you're going around Austin. Waymo has like a designated range within the city center that they can operate in. I live really close to Mueller, and it does not go to Mueller. If you're trying to go to Alamo Drafthouse Mueller, you cannot take a Waymo there. Yeah,
really?
But you can take one
Okay.
to Alamo South Lamar, for example. Like that area and down south is mapped out, and then it goes north to, I don't know like exactly what the cutoffs are for Waymo, but it's kind of like a circle around the city center. But like it doesn't take you to the airport, for example. I ordered it as close as I could get to the Austin airport at like 4 a.m. one time, and I was able to put my stuff in the trunk, and they got dropped off in a neighborhood maybe like 2 miles from the Austin airport, and then I called a regular Lyft to pick me up and take me the rest of the way. You know, another thing that really impressed me when I was in the Waymo was I was taking it at night one time, I think back from downtown to my apartment, and it stopped. It slowed down to let a cat cross the street in front of us. It picked up wildlife. Yeah.
So, okay, as a part of my previous job, we were invited to, before Waymo like launched, and it was after that other car company ended up having to leave town. I got a chance to go and like see the car close up and get a whole tour of the car and like, a breakdown of how it works and all of its safety features. And I remember looking at it and being like, okay, there's cameras everywhere to really tell where things are. There's sensors everywhere. I get it. I understand it. And then I asked them, I was like, okay, so like, can I get out of the car? Can I unlock the car on my own? And they were like, no. And I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean? And they're like, well, once the car is moving, you can't unlock the car until your ride's finished. I was like, nope. And for some reason, that was the thing. I was like, so I'm just in this car without a driver. What if something happens? And the girl's response is like, well, what's going to happen? If it's a wreck, there's a response for that. And and I was like, what if I'm in the car with somebody and things go south and we start arguing and I want to get out of the car? And she was like, what scenario would that happen? I was like, you don't know my life, lady. I don't like being locked in the car.
I think that's normal.
That was the thing that I was like, I need to be able to have control over when I can get out. And so I'm curious. I want you to walk me through your very first Waymo ride. Like, where did you go? How'd you call it? What was it like? Did you really immediately feel safe?
I remember my first Waymo ride like it was yesterday. I
Oh, God. I don't know why, Dan. You're killing me. I love this.
I ordered it from my apartment to the Driscoll downtown. Kind of a great first location to take it. A lot of people rubbernecking, a lot of people looking at you.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's less of a novelty now, but I definitely remember feeling really cool, like having everybody look when you would step out of the car. Like they're like, damn, how does this guy have access to this thing? And I was like, I don't know.
Who is that?
I'll tell you a little bit more how the ride was. You unlock the doors with the app. It plays like, cute little jingle when you open the doors and stuff, kind of like the noise your washing machine makes when it's done. And then, it must have been like an 11-minute ride. And another important thing to note about Waymo is that it does not go on the highway.
Okay, I do like that.
Yeah, if you're in a rush, Waymo might not be your best option. But if you are cruising, if you're in no rush, like that day that I was just going to the Driscoll to meet up with some friends for drinks, the Waymo was fine. And I just remember at first just watching the driver's wheel make turns, watching the screen that registers everyone, and it's able to distinguish, this is a pedestrian and they look like this is a person on a bike and they look like this, and it's people on scooters, and it sometimes assigns different colors. It also notices other Waymos on the road and will have them show up differently on the screen. It knows the dimensions of cars.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible how responsive it is. I will say this. I've ridden 60 rides in the Waymo. I think my girlfriend's probably been with me for like 10 or 15 of them. She said I was allowed to tell you, Nikki, on the podcast today, that the Waymo's a better driver than she is.
What? No,
Yes.
Really?
Yes. And honestly, I would say a Waymo might be a better driver than me.
You know what I say? I'm gonna ask her.
She will begrudgingly admit it. It doesn't make mistakes for the most part. I have a really funny story that might have been the craziest experience I think I had in the Waymo. I was leaving a UT baseball game with some friends. And I ordered a Waymo to come pick us up after the game had ended. And there was a police officer directing traffic. And he wanted all the traffic to go to the right. And the Waymo was mapping us to go out of the parking lot through the left. And the police officer was, waving us through to go to the right. And the Waymo went left. And the police officer lost his mind. He was like, you have to stop this thing. Like, stop this right now. And we're like, we
can't, dude.
I roll down my window and I go, sir, this is a robot. I don't know what you want me to do. He was like, you gotta find a way to reprogram it. Go right, go right. And I was like, sir, I'm just a passenger. I have no idea how to do this.
Dan, yeah. Okay, listen, I'm telling you, that's crazy.
This Waymo said, FTP, I'm going left, went left. I
love this.
It was crazy. We were cracking up. That police officer was so upset. He had no control over that robot car. And the Waymo never put anyone's lives in danger. I mean, you know how sometimes you're waiting for people to cross the street and some drivers will start inching up on you, I'm tired of waiting. The Waymo will wait there all day. It follows the rules of the road. It kind of drives the way you would drive when you're taking your driving test to get your license.
Okay.
Yeah. Very cautious, full stops. Yeah.
Funny. I love that it's incredibly following the rules, but also police. It's like the robot can't be bothered with you. I can't. All this waving. I don't know what that is. I'm going to the left. I love that.
I heard that there actually is a specific hand signal that law enforcement can do to redirect the Waymo, but this officer seemed like he had never seen one in his life.
Hey y'all, Nikki here. I wanted to tell you about something that you need to save the date for. Austin Community Foundation has been a trusted partner in local philanthropy for individuals, families, and businesses looking to do good in Central Texas. And on April 29th, Austin Community Foundation invites you to Austin in Common at ACL Live Moody Theater. Now, this is an event like no other. It's focused on storytelling. emceed by Miles Blockson, the night will feature 4 community leaders who will share their Austin stories, their diverse experiences of living, working, and raising families right here in Austin. It's a chance to celebrate our togetherness because no matter who you are or where you're from, we all have Austin in common. Sponsorships and tickets are available at austinincommon.org. So get yours today. That's austinincommon.org. We've heard a lot of stories kind of along these lines. So 2023, those cruise vehicles piled up and in a self-induced traffic jam near UT. I thought it was hilarious. Nobody got hurt. In January, a man was stuck in a Waymo that kept circling a parking lot
I
at
saw that one.
Arizona airport, which is also just like another funny thing. In your 60 plus rides, has there been any time at all that there's been anything weird or sketchy or anything like that? Because I think that it's like, I am one of these people too. Like you were talking about this earlier, where people were like, look, and every time, Dan, every time I see a Waymo, I break my neck trying to just look and see one, if there is someone driving, and then two, if there's someone in there. And every time I see someone in there, they're just kicking it. They're just kicking it in the back with nobody driving, and they're totally, seemingly feeling safe in their calm. And so, like, I'm curious, like, there's a lot of preconceived notions about the car. What do you think? One, have you had any sketchy stuff happen? And then two, did you have any of those preconceived notions that were blown away once you got into the car?
I will say confidently, I wouldn't have any experiences I would describe as sketchy.
Okay.
I have little complaints about the service sometimes. Routing can sometimes be an issue. I remember I was going to this restaurant and there was road work on one of the side streets and it got really confused by like the orange cones.
Oh, yeah.
And like it just like it kind of gave up at one point and was just like it ended the ride. I was less than a block away from the place, but I was like, come on, I'm spoiled. I'm used to door-to-door service now.
Take me to the door.
Right. So, that happened like maybe a handful of times, like routing issues. I have a friend that lives a 4-minute drive from me, and the Waymo frequently will like get on airport and do like this weird U-turn to drop him off. And I'm just like, this is so much faster when I'm driving. Sometimes the routing does not make perfect sense. And, you could rate the Waymo out of 5. And sometimes when it had routing issues, I would hit like, 3 stars or whatever and put down routing issue, or like this was a weird drop off. Like maybe you can look into this. And I'm sure like they're always iterating. I also, when I see people driving Waymos, I always thought maybe they were like expanding the range that they can operate in, or something had happened to the cars and they're like, I don't know, taking it to get a car wash or taking it to get repaired, or something like that. Because I see people driving the Waymos all the time and I just always assume they're employees.
Right,
because
me too.
you're not supposed to even sit in the driver's seat in the Waymo, and you can't touch the wheel in the Waymo.
Can you sit in the passenger seat up front?
Yeah, and it's my preference to sit in the passenger seat. I love sitting up there.
Okay,
Yeah.
Dan. Okay.
It's the best. I love it.
I love that not only are you in the car, but you're like, I want to be in the front. I need everybody to see that I am, deep into this innovation, honey. I love that you're in the front.
I'm proud. I'm proud of the Waymo. I love sitting in the front of the car. Just like it's my preference. Just having that visibility. Like I feel like I'm a claustrophobic person, so kind of having the biggest windshield in front of me is a good feeling. But I will say, you mentioned something that I also saw. The video of the guy, it went viral. He was at the Phoenix airport trying to get dropped off by the Waymo, and it was just going around in circles. So as someone that is a big Waymo defender, I remember doing more digging into this, and I found out that apparently, he gets on the call with Waymo support, which I've also done. My issue was that I had ordered a Waymo, and I think I approached it too quickly before it had come to a complete stop, and it got skittish, and it drove a little bit more forward, and it like wouldn't stop. It was kind of like avoiding me as I was trying to walk up to it. So I called Waymo support, and I'm like, Waymo, my Waymo is running away from me. Like it keeps moving when I approach it, and they're like, sir, just stand still for like 10 seconds, and it should come to a complete stop. And it did. eventually after 10 seconds I go, thank you. And I hung up the phone.
That's amazing.
But back to the Phoenix guy, there is an option in every Waymo ride to hit pull over. There's a button that's always there that just says pull over. And I've hit it before. Sometimes we're like, it's going to drop me off, but there's a bunch of traffic. And I'm just like, you know what? I'll just walk the rest of the way. I hit the pull over button and it says like finding a safe place to pull over. And then it pulls over. So apparently this guy had gotten on the phone with Waymo support and they had told him that he could just hit the pull over button if it's going around in circles. And he had like kind of fought with them on it and been like, well, why can't you pull it over remotely? So I will say I doubt not the authenticity of the video, but I think it was maybe edited to kind of seem like he was in more danger or like it was more of a hassle than it actually was.
Okay.
You had mentioned earlier, Nikki, that, you can't get out of the car. I don't think this was Waymo. I think it was a different autonomous vehicle company that you had. In my experience, I've always been able to easily get out of a Waymo.
It was Waymo. That girl just didn't know what she was talking about.
Okay,
she gave me the wrong answer.
Yes.
She gave me the wrong answer because she did not mention a pullover button at all.
I think there's been a couple of times where I've forgotten to even hit the pullover button and I kind of just opened the door because, we were going really slow. I was almost at my destination and I just decided to walk. And, it'll start beeping and stuff, kind of like the beeping that it does to buckle your seatbelt. Also, the Waymo won't ride if you aren't properly buckled, which makes sense. But it had started beeping when I opened the door and stuff. But that opening the door triggered like the pullover protocol, and I was able to get out really easily. And my only concern was that I hope I didn't do anything wrong and I'm banned from the app now because I forgot to hit pullover first. But in terms of getting out of the Waymo, that was really easy in my experience. I never felt trapped in there.
So, okay, aside from me, who is always suspicious of everything all the time, what would you say are preconceived notions that people have about Waymo that are totally wrong in your experience when it comes to the self-driving cars? Is it the safety?
Absolutely. Safety is top of mind for most people. It's the lack of being in control. I feel like we've been in Ubers where the drivers are definitely really sketchy and taking some wild turns, speeding, experiencing signs of road rage.
Yep.
I could go on and on. I will say going from unlimited free Waymo rides to getting into a regular Uber again, I was like, oh no, I'm spoiled now. This is like going from a filet mignon to a McDonald's Happy Meal.
Dang.
It was tough. The Waymos are like Jaguar, top of the line, electric vehicles.
Yes, they are.
They're
very
luxe.
Bougie. They're very bougie. Yeah.
Kind of like what you'd expect from an Uber Black or whatever. Preconceived notions. I think safety is that's the one that I always hear, is I don't feel safe. I want to be in control, or, I need there to be a human sitting in that seat. And I think that's just what we have to maybe get used to with autonomous vehicles, is just getting comfortable with no one being in the driver's seat.
So I think I know the answer to this question, but if given the option, straight up, you prefer self-driving car to a driven car? That's what I'm hearing, that you prefer the self-driving car to a driven car.
I would say absolutely. I prefer a self-driving car to a car that I can drive myself. If I had the option to, manually operate it when I wanted to, that'd be great. But wow, I would totally do a self-driving car. Definitely as an Uber replacement or a Lyft replacement, I way prefer Waymo.
Is this just going to always be through Uber? That's the part that I find so weird, that it's I'm not guaranteed that I'll get a Waymo because it's through the Uber app.
Yes, I am not thrilled about this partnership with Uber because if it was up to me, I would have kept the Waymo One app. And even if they started charging me for it, I just want the option to always get a driverless vehicle if I want.
Right, because that's the point.
Yeah, exactly. I would wait longer for it. So they started rolling out the ability for certain people that I guess had been on the wait list for a while to test it out. And sometimes, depending on the time of day, I would get a ride in 4 minutes. Sometimes it would be like a 20, 30-minute wait for a Waymo. And I was willing to wait sometimes. And I did frequently wait sometimes 20, 30 minutes just to have a Waymo. I'd hang out a little bit longer at my friend's house or take a little bit longer to finish that drink at the bar, like waiting for the Waymo to come get me. So I love the driverless vehicle, the autonomous vehicle experience. And like for, the trips I take weekly that I'm not driving myself, I could easily take a Waymo for. And I wish I still had that option to kind of like only get Waymos and
Yeah.
not rely on Uber or Lyft.
Is there a price difference at all? There's no price difference?
Uber has stated that the price of a Waymo will be exactly the same as like an Uber X. They only seat 4 people. So 1 in the passenger seat and then 3 in the back seat.
So, okay. A lot of people, they're skeptical about Waymo because they feel like it's taking opportunities and jobs away from drivers. Now, I will say this. I have been in so many sketchy, unsafe Lyft and Uber driver situations where I have had to like say something and be like, bro, you got to slow down. Or like, hey, you're making me a little nervous. I also have had wonderful rides. And I know that the opportunity to be a driver, really it supplements so many people's incomes. And it's really important. Do you think that Waymo will get so big that it will start to encroach on opportunities for actual drivers?
I think the potential is definitely there for it to get big enough to start replacing human drivers. I also think that there are some people that are never going to change their minds about feeling unsafe with a driverless vehicle. You're always going to have that demographic that's just not interested, doesn't trust it, and that's fine. I'm sensitive to the people that are driving Uber or Lyft to make supplemental income, or if that's their only income. I think it'd be fine for me personally, if Waymo never learned or got the ability to drive on the freeway or on the highway,
Agreed.
and that could be something that only human drivers do. There's certain environments that a Waymo isn't great in, but like driving around neighborhoods, dealing with stop signs and stoplights and things like that, very easy. But like merging onto the freeway, I could see that being a little bit hard for the Waymo. Yeah.
I love that the Waymo seems to have this temperamental streak. Like, no, don't get too close. I'm going to keep going forward. No, stop. Like, I love that there's this part of it's just like, it can't figure things out. So it just stops the ride. Like, okay, I'm stressed out. Get out.
Yes.
Get out. I'm not
it's kind of skittish.
I kind of love it.
Me too. It kind of reminds me of like a cat. It's like cat-like.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yes.
It feels cat-like with the temperament. It also, I've been in the car sometimes and, waiting for a friend to walk up to the Waymo to get in with me. And the Waymo will be like, I'm sitting in the car and it'll be like a person approaching the vehicle. Like,
oh, I love that. I love that.
But
someone's walking up.
Right. It's funny. It's like you kind of got to like calm the Waymo down. Like, it's okay, Waymo. Like, this is my friend. Like, he's allowed to get into the car. The whole experience, I think, is just it's relaxing. Not having to worry about the Uber driver. Like, sometimes I always feel like I'm putting the Uber driver out. Like, they want to be listening to their own music or they want to hop on the phone to call a friend or something. And now they got to be got to cater to the people in the car. In the Waymo, it's like you're in control. You can pick music options. You can change the volume. You can change the air conditioning. Are you too hot, too cold? All that stuff. You can adjust the seats.
I will say personally, so I am a quiet Uber driver. I just want to get in, say hello, and then I want to get on my phone because chances are I'm late and I need to text people and let them know I'm late. Even when I ask for a quiet ride, I never get it. There's always some person being super chatty, and that's okay. That's okay. But it's just like my preference is to have that quiet time. And so like the only part about this that you have me hooked on just a little bit is that I would be guaranteed a quiet ride. I would be guaranteed
speaking my language. Nikki, you are speaking my language. I could not agree more. I am in 100% total agreement with you. I consider myself a really social person and I take my quiet time so seriously.
Same.
And if I'm about to show up to a party, to a bar, to meet up with friends, I don't want to also be talking in the Uber.
Yep.
Like I'm trying to mentally prepare to be social for the next couple of hours, if not all night. I want to get into that Waymo and put on the ambient sounds playlist and just sit there, maybe scroll on my phone a little bit. But I love quiet when I'm driving, and it's
Oh my
like
God.
it's that's gonna be what does it for you, Nikki. If you get yourself in a Waymo and you experience those first couple rides where you are under no obligation to talk to
Oh,
the drivers, like you don't have to be polite, and like make small talk. Oh, just avoiding the small talk.
oh.
It changes things.
So Cruise used to operate here, it stopped in 2023. Zooks, which
Yeah,
is owned
I
by
think they're owned by
Amazon,
Amazon. Yeah.
yeah, it's supposedly on its way. And so I'm interested. If it comes to town, are you gonna try it?
Yeah, yeah, I'd
Yeah.
try any vehicle. I know Tesla's rolling out the robo-taxi. I'm a little bit
Never.
apprehensive about anything Tesla, to be
Never.
honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
never.
I just don't trust. I don't trust that they
Me
have my
either.
best interests at heart.
You know, it's so funny. I'm as we're talking about this, I'm like, you know what? In 15, maybe 20 years, maybe less. I mean, the way we're going, 15, 20
Mhm.
years, it's like, gonna look back at this conversation like, we're so silly because now everything
Right.
is self-driving. No one's gonna be driving on their own. This will be a
Yeah.
conversation like, remember when
Well,
Waymo was
Nikki, I
the
mean,
only one?
people thought that commercial flights were never going to catch on. It used to be kind of like a really sketchy proposition to get on a commercial flight, and
Mm-hmm.
now it's like we can't imagine life without being able to fly places.
We'll get there.
I agree with you. I do think we'll get there. With self-driving cars, where people will just be like, people used to be scared of these things. Like, why?
Yes, yes, that's where we're going. I'll be the old woman that'll be like, back in my day, I was so afraid to get in one of these. So,
Yeah.
okay, my last question for you is if anyone is listening and they are hesitant, do you have any advice?
Yeah, I would say for your first ride, pick somewhere 8 minutes away from you, if not shorter. Make sure you're comfortable with it at a short distance. And then, if you're comfortable with it at 8 minutes, I think you'll be comfortable spending 15, 20 minutes in
Okay.
there. Like that won't be an issue. So I would take it for your first ride, take it somewhere nearby, like maybe a route that you've driven many times before. Don't touch the steering wheel.
Dan, ain't nobody getting in the front but you.
Hey,
I want
I
to
don't
be
know.
driven. I want to be driven. Like I want
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I like to sit in the back. Like
For sure.
I'm being driven.
I would also say maybe the first time go with like one friend that you trust really closely, or a partner. Don't go with like your wild friend, that's always getting into trouble. That's going to probably try to grab the wheel. That's going to
Yeah,
be like
okay.
taking videos, screaming out the window, vaping in there. You're not supposed to vape in the Waymos. I don't know how they detect that.
I do not want to be smoking a vape in the cat-like Waymo because then
Yeah.
they'll get overwhelmed and be like, you know what? Get out. This vaping is too much. I'm
Right.
stopping the ride. Get out. Stop. All the doors will come open. Get out.
Yeah. I don't want this passenger in me anymore. Like, let's
I can't
go.
be bothered.
Yeah, just don't build it up to be like a scary thing. Just trust it. Watching it like make a right turn on red, or properly navigate like a four-way stop is, I think, the moment that people are like, okay, like I
Okay.
trust this. Like, well, I'm impressed. Like I think this handled it better than I would have. So yeah, I think once you start seeing it do things that you wouldn't expect it to be able to do, you start buying into it really fast.
Okay. All right. You have me convinced. I'm going to try it. And then we're going to have to talk about it again. Dan, thank you for being here and chatting with me
Of
about
course.
this and letting me ask you all these questions.
I was so happy to do it. You got to record yourself the first time you're in there because I want to see that.
Oh, I'm absolutely recording myself. I'm absolutely going to record myself. I didn't know it was so bougie, so now I want to do it. Thank you so much, Dan. This was so much fun.
Yes, I had a lot of fun too.
That's all for today here on CityCast Austin. Are you a Waymo user? Did we convince you? Leave us a voicemail at the number in our show notes and let us know. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Austin newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye, y'all.